hopefully everyone's doing all right with all of this foolishness stuff. Getting some work done. I'm going to open that up. Okay, apparently. Open that up for a sec. So these are all that I put them as like 2 pages. Oh, poo. Apparently I moved the slide when I did those ones a little bit. You know, why do I have that cursor? What's going on? Okay. And the bottom ones. I used our standard ones. I didn't notice until I was like 3/4 of the way done that this says 1.609, 0.9144, 3048, and well, 2.54 centimeters in an inch. So if you used those ones, you may have slightly different numbers. I mean, if you're off by a few hundredths or in the second decimal place, it's not going to be that bad. Plus, you're going to show your work. So it won't be that big of a deal. I haven't heard anything more than anyone else would have had about what's going on. Every once in a while, Mrs. Lauritsen sends out stuff about picking stuff up if you still need things picked up. Hopefully we're all good. And just the way that I have to do a class at 8:30 and 11 and 1 and whatever, unless they let me go in, I can't even go in and print things to leave for you guys. But this is the one that we would be carrying on to next. It's 6 pages, which is a little daunting, but I'm going to do this over 2. We're going to talk about perimeter today, and then circumference, which involves circles, and we're going to split it up. This is another thing. Hopefully the government and QP are meeting this afternoon. Well, all things. Hopefully they can figure something out. And we can be back to school at some point next week. I think report cards are still going to go out at the same time. So I'm going to have to do some stuff for those people who've missed tests. I can't penalize you because you weren't able to come in and make up a test because we weren't at school. If we were at school, we would have got everything done and everything would be okay. We'll have to figure something out after the report card. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do that, but that's a technical thing for me to do. So we didn't quite get this far last year with grade 10 because of everything. So we're going to start with this. We're already a few minutes in. Oh, before we start, I just want to ask if anyone has any questions, if everyone's okay with everything that we've done thus far. I don't know. We only kind of added one real new thing in the last few days. But like you guys can use this chat and say, hey, I've got a question. If you don't want to talk, you can turn a microphone on because some people probably have similar questions. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties. I have said, and we will probably spend a day going over some stuff when we get back. Gosh, if it's Monday, that would be awesome. I'd have to go in and kill a whole bunch of trees to get stuff printed off for you. When I do print stuff off like this, unfortunately for paper's sake, it may be, if I'm printing stuff that I've written, it's going to be this where it's like 2 pages per, because there's just massive amounts. So hopefully what we're going to talk about today is stuff you've seen before. Perimeter is the distance all the way around a shape. If you are on a farm and you want to put up a fence, the amount of fencing that you need and will use is going to be the perimeter of that field. So perimeter, all of this is why where did my cursor go? There. Sometimes it's funny. Perimeter is measured in units of length, like meters. We could use, like, commonly centimeters, kilometers, but we could also use inches. I don't know if perimeter would ever be really done in miles. We're going to keep it fairly straightforward. And where I can get tricky with some of these, just one sec. Where I could get tricky, and Mr. McKay's trying to be sneaky, is combine meters and centimeters or inches and feet in the same question. And then, oh my gosh, we have to like do a simple conversion. One thing we need to clarify before we start, because when someone is like drawing one of these sorts of things, in terms of like making an image look clean, we don't want to have numbers all the way around all the time. So we use these tick marks. So like that indicate that sides are equal. So in this particular figure here, I've got a length and a width. The two length sides, because this is a rectangle, are going to be the same, and the two width sides are going to be the same. So that's what those mean, and we're going to see those through a couple of different examples. Some of the things we're going to have to kind of logically piece out different things, so we're going to go through those 4. This is one of these things where I'm going to go through all 6 of those. When we at school, you would get to try some, and I'd go through them, and then your kind of practice will be, even though there's nothing super fun, like that is just, to me, really messy, and there would be ways, well, those 7s are the same, those 6s are the same. Technically, those 10s are the same. You could use tick marks or that to show different things. And then we'll deal with circles tomorrow. So the perimeter is the distance around. It's really the sum of the side lengths is what the perimeter is. So today, everything we're going to do is add. When we talk about circles tomorrow, we might have some multiplication in there because circles are a little tricky. But yeah. So where, like on a test, I would probably try to find things like this. I have this weird quadrilateral shape. It tells me this side length is 7, this side length is 4, but we have this, and this. So because we have those 3 tick marks, what that tells me is that side length is 7 meters. That side is 7 meters. Well, the perimeter for this, see, this is where everything sucks. I don't know if people are sketching these, if some of you have them printed, if some of you are just watching. Oh, this is so much fun. The perimeter, there isn't really a formula. It's the sum of the sides. I could make up this crazy weird formula, A plus B plus C plus D, but this one is just 7 meters because we need units plus 7 meters plus 7 meters, which gives us those three, plus 4 meters. 3 sevens are 21 and 4. So if you wanted to build a fence around a shape that was like this, you would need 25 meters of fencing. Then I can add a financial. Oh, that sounds like a great exam question. You need to build a fence around this shape. Calculate the perimeter. If fencing costs per meter, how much does it cost to put the fence in? Because that's a unit price sort of question and a perimeter question, and it puts two things together. Watch for that later. So that's as simple as they can be. Let's see, are these? Then I can give you what this kind of is a composite shape. Depending on how you want to cut it, it's two rectangles, essentially, regardless of whether you do two rectangles or two rectangles. But what we have to worry about here is, well, right now I know that I have this and this. Well, that tells me that that's 2.2 centimeters. But we need to figure out this side length and the bottom. And I just want to rewrite this because that looks really funny if you've already got it written. 2 centimeters. So this bottom length here is, oh no, it must have fallen out. Where we have to think with some of these to make these kind of tricky. There's two things. I can leave information out, but give you enough to figure it out. I'm going to just use a couple colors. I know that that didn't really show up, but that side length is 2.5 centimeters. This, by what we're given, is 2.2 centimeters. Well, how do I know how long this is? Well, that side length is going to go down there. That side length, making sure we have what is going to go down there. So what do I know about this side? Well, this part is 2.5. This part is 2.2. So this whole thing, 2 and 2 is 4, must be 4.7 centimeters. Because all I did is add those two side lengths up. This is the one that we don't know right now. I know this vertical piece, there's my lines, that's 4.2. That's 2.2. Can I figure out how much more I would need to go down to here to get that length? Well, this one, so this side length here is 2.2. Because we have to subtract. That's the way to make things slightly tricky. Now the perimeter, I'm just going to go all the way around. I have my first side, 4.2. This is clockwise, 2.5 plus 2.2 plus another 2.2. Uh-oh. Okay, forgot his units. It's this 2 that we figured out. plus that whole bottom length, which was 4.7. And it's too early on. I don't even remember what day of the week it is. 4.2. Whoa. Huh? Let's start over. 4.2 plus 2.5 plus 2.2 plus 2.2 plus 2 plus 4.7 gives us a grand total of 17.8 centimeters. That would be a very short fence because that's not even like a foot. But that is one way that I could try to make you, well, I will try to make you think on a test or something like that. Most likely, based on this folder, there might be like 2 perimeter questions. One is probably going to be fairly straightforward. One might be something sneaky, like, oh, these 2. Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Centimeters, millimeters, millimeters. Uh-oh. Which one would you convert? And here's a fun thing to do. Like both of these have 2 different units. Nothing wrong with that. No big deal. However, if you just add 5, 40, and 26, you will get the wrong answer. You'll get part marks because you added things up, which is fine. Okay, good. I'm not hearing things. I thought I heard a bang. But my question will be, find the perimeter. Does it matter which units you convert? Can I convert millimeters to centimeters? Sure. Can I convert centimeters to millimeters? Sure. Okay. For fun, you could convert everything to kilometers and add them up if you really wanted to. But logically, there's kind of one way. This is a triangle. I have 3 sides. 2 of them are in millimeters. I'm going to convert this to millimeters by multiplying by 10 and saying that's 52 millimeters. Why am I going to convert that one to millimeters? Because how many calculations is it to convert one side to millimeters? How many is it to convert those 2 to centimeters? 2. No matter who you are, the more things you do, the more chances you have to make an error. If you make a conversion error, but do everything else right, again, you won't get 0. If you convert this one correctly and then make a mistake for whatever reason on that one, you will get most of your marks. But in this case, I'm going to add those up. Perimeter is now, let's learn how to draw right at 2 properly. Plus 90, 100, 110, plus 8, 50, 60, 70, 118 millimeters. Alternatively, again, this wouldn't be, if you want to convert this to centimeters, you would divide by 10. I think if you've already gone through and done this, make the mistake I almost just did. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Which those are equivalent. So either one is just as valid. Some people are super comfortable with converting within metric units. And if you just say, equals 4 centimeters equals 2.6. I'd prefer if you put the divide or that multiply with that, but if I think converting metric is moving a decimal place, you can potentially do that without any issue. This one has some tick marks, but it also has meters and centimeters. The same idea. This one, I prefer smaller numbers. I'm converting that to meters all day long because I would rather add 2s, 5s, and all of that than 250s, 360s, and that. Now we have to fill in, well, I see this tick mark here. So that tells me, even though they might not look the same, that's 2.5 meters. That's 2.5 meters. I've got 2 here, which tells us that this is 3.6 meters. So that's where we need to go. Whoa, sorry, from there. Perimeter, I would pick a spot and go either counterclockwise or clockwise. So I'm going to start up here because that's kind of the top. And go clockwise plus 3.6 plus that 2.5 plus 6 meters. So and let's not risk making a mistake. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess that just looks funny because I'm actually like touching my screen to count things. It's the whole habit of with a smartboard. And if we add those all up, we should get 20.7 meters. I'll give you a second if you need to write that down. Was it frosty in Sussex this morning? I went outside. It was 0. Oh, now my little indoor-outdoor thermometer says it's -1. That's not good. We got up this morning and saw the 0 degrees and hadn't bought our kids winter boots. So before 7 o'clock, I think I bought winter boots for the kids that I have to go pick up later because their poor toes are going to get cold. So we've been here 23 minutes. Oh dear. 2 more. Oh, here we go. So similar shape because, hey, why not just change units? Same idea, but what is the huge difference here? One thing we haven't gone over is, and I've almost used it, but then I stopped. What do those 2 little, I guess technically they're quotation marks mean? That's 4 inches. The apostrophe is, so this one is 6 feet, 5 inches. So it's not a decimal. I'm probably wouldn't give you one in feet and inches because that kind of makes converting a little bit tricky. But if I'm doing a question like this, I'm probably going to put everything in inches because 6, I wish I was that tall. I just find it like, because that's not a decimal amount of feet. I guess technically we could do a whole bunch of different things, but 6 feet times 12 inches per foot is 60, 70, 72 inches. Plus 5 is 77 inches. Again, with any of these, you can use whichever unit you particularly feel the most comfortable with. This is how I would do it. You could say that is 5 divided by 12 is 0.416 repeating. So that's 6.42. Wow, if I actually got that right, I'm gonna, wow. That was straight up 100% a guess. I knew it was less than that, and I figured it repeated in the third place. Wow, I am so lucky this morning. You could do it in feet as decimals, but that's not something we've done anything. So I would do and say this is, well, 77. Come on, button. That's 77. And then the perimeter is, I'm going to do this. Just, no, you're not. Be consistent. Turkey. None of the images you will use for these are necessarily to scale. No one is taking a ruler out and constructing these with a ruler. So even though that looks like it's like half that length, who cares? Does the image says it's 77 plus 7. Stupid. 4. And that would total, I've already forgotten, 235 inches. One more, and then I am done. And then you're on. Also, this is, holy, look at all these crazy units. Wicked, awesome. So this, whoa. What? I don't know why that kept hopping. This is 17 feet, inches, and yards. This is where I would give you kind of like, oh, here's your final question. I'm going to put it in 3 different units. Could you do everything in inches? Sure. Could you do everything in feet? Sure. Could you do everything in yards? Sure. Could you, if you felt fancy, do everything in meters or centimeters? Yes. That would take a whole bunch of work. And depending on your strategy, I'm going to do everything in feet because I know I can convert this to feet by multiplying by 3 feet per yard. So that's just 6 feet. And then I can convert this to feet by dividing by 12 inches per foot. And that's going to be, wait, 24 is 2 and 1/6, 2.17, because we've got a round. What? I'm exercising my brain when I try to do that. So that would be my first step, is put everything in the same units. Does it matter what unit you choose? some of you could choose feet. Some of you might say, hey, I want to put all of these in inches. Some of you may want to put everything in yards. Doesn't matter. If you do your way and it's different from what I do, I'm going to be able to figure out what you should have got. So it's a comfort thing. So I want to fill some stuff in. I know because I've got one tick mark here that this is 6 foot. This is 6 foot. This apparently is 17 feet. And obviously 17 feet, 2 feet, not scale. I don't even know how to draw that like that, but I will try to give you things that like somewhat are representative. So the perimeter, I'm going to start up here, 6 feet plus 6 feet plus that big 17 feet. That's another 6 feet. Plus if you don't have your units on a final answer, will you get full value? Probably not. 6 plus 6 plus 17 plus 6 plus 2.17 plus 6, 6, 17, 6, 2.17 17. So that would have a perimeter of 54.17 feet. So those are the examples that I'm going to do. I will export them. I will save them. And so if you were just following along and you want to do some of the practice, you can go through and just look. You can do this on the practice paper if you don't have it printed. We'll cross the circle bridge when we come to it. So this in my file is page 5. And these are just perimeters. None of them are too wacky. But what I would like you to spend the rest of your time on is looking at those. I'm going to do this so I don't forget. So is that reasonable? Okay. Hopefully that's nothing too bizarre, too crazy, too outlandish. I will stick around. I mean, normally I stick around unless someone is sitting there and obviously has wandered away or fallen asleep. But I'll stick around for a little bit if anyone has a question or anything like that. And we shall go from there. So get those perimeter questions done, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. See you later. I don't recognize any of those kids.